The training dummy explodes into fragments. Metal shrieks against reinforced bone as Joy's fist punches through its core, sending shock waves through the Academy's artificial gravity field. Thunder echoes through this cathedral of war. Sweat traces silver lines down her shoulders. Each drop catches harsh overhead illumination like liquid starlight. The droplets map geography across skin forged by worlds where weakness means death. Burns from plasma discharge. Blade marks from close quarters combat. The puckered crater of a projectile wound that should have been fatal. Her body tells stories in violence's language. Each mark testifies to survival in environments that consume the unprepared. The Academy's gravity generators hum at 1.2 standard, pathetically weak by Earth parameters. Back home, she trained under pressures that would crush the delicate alien cadets now watching from observation galleries. Earth's gravity doesn't forgive. It sculpts bone density like a master craftsman, transforms muscle fiber into something approaching organic steel, teaches every movement to carry the weight of a world that actively tries to kill its children. Here, surrounded by beings evolved under gentle suns and forgiving physics, she feels weightless, dangerous, like a weapon accidentally loaded with ammunition meant for much larger prey. Another strike splits the dummy's reinforced casing. Synthetic materials designed to withstand Academy combat training disintegrate under calculated fury. Earth-forged physics. The facility's automated systems register destruction with mechanical concern. Cataloging equipment failure rates that exceed all projected parameters. They hadn't planned for human involvement in their calculations. Movement catches her peripheral vision. Commander Orion observes from the elevated platform. His 7-foot frame pressed against the viewing portal like a predator studying potential prey. Midnight blue skin reflects the chamber's sterile light, creating shifting patterns across features carved from aristocratic bone structure. His species, the Valdris, commands respect throughout 17 star systems. Their military precision flows through genetics like liquid steel. Their tactical brilliance shapes galactic warfare doctrine. Their strategic minds orchestrate victories across impossible odds. Nothing in his extensive tactical databases prepared him for the human female currently reducing Academy equipment to component materials with her bare hands. She executes a spinning heel kick, launches the training dummy across the chamber with ballistic precision. It embeds in the far wall with a shriek of tortured metal. Synthetic materials compressed beyond structural tolerances. She stands in the aftermath, chest rising and falling in measured rhythms that speak to cardiovascular conditioning honed by survival necessity rather than academic training programs. Every breath carries controlled power. Someone who learned combat in environments where miscalculation equals death. The chamber doors part with pneumatic whispers, releasing pressure differentials as environmental systems adjust. Orion descends the access stairs with measured precision, each footfall echoing in sudden silence that follows destruction. His silver eyes lock onto hers across the distance, predator recognizing predator across the vast genetic chasm between their species. The recognition hits her with unexpected force. She sees tactical intelligence in those alien features, cold calculation that shapes successful military leadership. Something that matches the combat efficiency she's refined to an art form. Both realize simultaneously that this encounter has moved far beyond simple training demonstration. You're destroying our equipment. His voice carries authority of someone accustomed to immediate compliance, but underlying tones suggest genuine curiosity rather than censure. Her smile reveals teeth too sharp for diplomatic protocols, too predatory for the sterile Academy environment. Earth regulations state that training apparatus should withstand full student capability ranges. This didn't. The words hang between them like a challenge issued across species barriers. Academy equipment is designed for galactic standard physiology. Beings evolved under forgiving conditions, raised in environments that prize intellectual achievement over physical prowess. The training dummies are rated for forces that would challenge the strongest known species in the Alliance. Apparently, the Alliance's knowledge base contained significant gaps. He circles her position with calculated precision, maintaining Academy-mandated safety distances while his tactical mind catalogs every detail. The way muscle fibers ripple beneath sweat-slicked skin like cables under tension. The constellation of battle scars mapping old conflicts across shoulders and arms. The casual confidence of something evolved for survival in environments that actively attempt to eliminate weakness. Beautiful in the manner that weapons achieve beauty through perfect adaptation. Lethal, with the kind of lethality that comes from surviving rather than simply training. Completely beyond his experience with other species. Your species' files indicated moderate physical capabilities. His voice carries careful neutrality of someone navigating potentially dangerous diplomatic territory. The files are propaganda. Her response cuts through diplomatic language with blade precision. Written by bureaucrats who have never witnessed human combat capabilities in actual implementation, never seen what we become when physics stops being merciful and starts being educational. The words carry weight beyond simple correction. They speak to deliberate misdirection, strategic concealment of capabilities that might alter galactic power calculations. The implications ripple through her strategic assessment protocols like seismic waves through rigid structures. If human combat capabilities exceed documented parameters by significant margins, then every military assessment of Earth's strategic value requires immediate revision. Alliance force projection calculations, defense procurement strategies, the fundamental assumptions underlying galactic security architecture. Everything changes if humans are significantly more dangerous than official documentation suggests. She studies the alien commander with the same intensity he's been applying to her combat demonstrations. Analytical mind processing threat assessments and opportunity calculations. Her gaze traces his frame with professional efficiency, noting the way military fabric stretches across broad shoulders. The corded strength visible beneath midnight skin. The controlled grace that speaks to extensive combat conditioning. He's larger than standard human parameters by significant margins. Enhanced reach provides tactical advantages in blade work. Alien physiology suggests cardiovascular and muscular adaptations that could present challenges in extended engagement scenarios. But size advantages become liabilities in close-quarters combat against opponents trained to exploit leverage differentials. You certain about that proposition, Commander? Her voice carries confidence of someone who has tested capabilities against larger opponents. Discovered that physics favors intelligence over mass when properly applied. Most of your cadets require extensive medical attention after sparring sessions with me. The admission contains layers of information about academy training protocols, about the gap between theoretical instruction and practical application, about the difference between beings raised in comfort and those forged by necessity. It also serves as both warning and invitation, acknowledgement that what she offers carries genuine risk alongside its educational value. I'm not most cadets. The words carry more weight than simple confidence. They acknowledge the risk while accepting it, demonstrate understanding of the stakes while choosing engagement over safety. The kind of decision that separates commanders from administrators, warriors from theorists. The kind of decision that changes everything. The sparring ring's sensors activate as they step onto the padded combat surface. sophisticated monitoring systems designed to track biometric data and prevent training accidents that could create diplomatic incidents. Safety protocols engage automatically, scanning for potential injury parameters and calculating intervention thresholds. The facility's AI cycles through warning sequences about cross-species engagement limitations, regulatory compliance requirements, liability documentation procedures. Neither combatant processes the advisories. Their attention has narrowed to the fundamental equation of combat: force, leverage, timing, and the willingness to accept consequences. The ring itself speaks to Academy commitment to safety over realism. Padded surfaces designed to minimize impact trauma. Restraint fields ready to activate if biometric readings suggest serious injury potential. Medical scanners monitoring for stress fractures, cardiac irregularities, neurological trauma indicators. All precautions designed for beings who view combat as academic exercise rather than survival necessity. She moves first, testing his reflexes with rapid strike combinations that carry just enough force to gauge defensive capabilities without committing to full engagement. Fast but not maximum velocity. Precise but not lethal intent. The opening moves of someone who understands that information gathering precedes decisive action. Her techniques blend multiple earth martial traditions with improvisations born from actual combat experience. Each strike carries efficiency of movement patterns refined through repetition under pressure, adapted through survival encounters that provided immediate feedback about the effectiveness of tactical choices. Orion deflects with fluid precision, his enhanced reach providing tactical advantages that he leverages with impressive technical skill. His defensive patterns speak to extensive formal training. Instruction in combat methodologies developed through centuries of military tradition. Beautiful technique honed through academic study rather than battlefield necessity. When she transitions to close quarters engagement, muscle memory overriding conscious planning, something shifts. She doesn't fight like someone following learned patterns. She fights like physics itself, each movement optimized for maximum effect through minimum expenditure of energy. She fights like gravity incarnate, relentless, inevitable, wearing down opposition through absolute refusal to acknowledge defeat as a possibility. When his longer reach creates tactical distance, she closes gaps with aggressive advances that transform his advantages into vulnerabilities. When his superior size and strength threaten to overpower her through brute force application, she uses leverage and momentum to redirect his energy against him. The Academy training ring becomes a laboratory for studying the difference between combat as intellectual exercise and combat as survival imperative. When he backs her against the ring's edge, seeking to use environmental features to limit her mobility options, she adapts with fluid grace, extensive experience fighting in disadvantageous circumstances. Instead of allowing the boundary to constrain her movement, she uses it as launching platform. Drives her knee toward his solar plexus with enough force to test his armor's protective capabilities. Orion catches her leg with reflexes that confirm suspicions about enhanced alien physiology. But instead of capitalizing on the opportunity to counterattack, he holds the position. Something in her expression gives him pause. The cold calculation in brown eyes. The absolute absence of fear despite her disadvantageous position. Her combat boot rests against his armored chest, close enough that she feels his elevated heart rate through ceremonial plating, close enough that the heat of his body creates localized warming in the sterile Academy environment, close enough that neither can ignore the implications of their current positioning. Impressive, though he makes no move to release her leg, recognizing that the gesture would signal either tactical advantage or something more complex. Flattery constitutes poor strategy, Commander. Her response carries amusement alongside warning, acknowledgement that their engagement has moved beyond simple sparring into territory, requiring more nuanced navigation. His grip shifts higher on her thigh, fingers splaying across muscle, hardened by decades of military conditioning. The contact sends unexpected electrical cascades through her nervous system. Biological responses that have nothing to do with combat assessment and everything to do with recognition of compatible physical architecture. The touch bridges species barriers with startling immediacy. His hands register efficient arrangement of strength and flexibility that speaks to optimization for survival rather than aesthetic purposes. Her muscle structure feels familiar despite obvious physiological differences. Shaped by similar pressures, even if those pressures originated on different worlds, under different stars. Neither lowers their weapons, but the nature of their engagement has shifted into territory that Academy protocols never anticipated. The marriage contract requires certain physical ceremonies. His voice carries nuances that speak to growing understanding of the complexity their situation has achieved. Bonding rituals designed to demonstrate compatibility between allied species. The words reference Academy cultural integration programs. Diplomatic protocols established to facilitate cooperation between species with divergent social structures, but delivered in their current context, with her leg pressed against his chest and both their weapons ready for immediate deployment. They carry implications that extend far beyond bureaucratic compliance. Her pulse quickens while her expression maintains controlled neutrality that kept her alive through 3 decades of military service. I'm familiar with diplomatic requirements. The question becomes whether you're prepared for what authentic compatibility entails. Her words slice through diplomatic euphemism with surgical precision, acknowledging the subtext while demanding clarity about intentions and expectations. She's offering engagement on terms that transcend simple physical attraction. Partnership based on mutual respect and shared capability rather than traditional power dynamics. His amber eyes hold hers with unwavering directness, refusing to retreat from the implications of their conversation. Your meaning requires clarification. I don't submit. I don't defer. I don't smile politely while stronger personalities make decisions affecting human lives. Her voice carries the hard edge of someone who commanded armies under impossible circumstances, who learned leadership through survival rather than appointment. If you want decorative companionship, you've chosen the wrong general. The declaration establishes parameters that violate traditional alliance marriage protocols while offering something potentially more valuable. Genuine partnership between equals rather than ceremonial union designed to satisfy diplomatic requirements. She's proposing alliance based on capability and respect rather than convenience and political necessity. Understanding dawns across his alien features. Recognition that she's offering something significantly more complex and valuable than standard diplomatic marriage arrangements. His free hand traces the edge of her combat uniform, fingers following the line of medals and commendations marking 3 decades of military achievement. The decorative elements of her uniform tell stories that official documentation fails to capture. Each medal represents specific actions under enemy fire, decisions made under pressure that preserved lives and achieved objectives despite impossible odds. The kind of achievements that can't be simulated in academy training environments. I have sufficient decorative courtiers. What I require is partnership with someone capable of matching my strategic capabilities. Someone who comprehends that authentic power emerges from alliance between equals rather than dominance over subordinates. The admission surprises her with its directness and sophistication. She expected arrogance, condescension, the casual dismissal most alien nobles display toward human capabilities. Instead, she's hearing recognition of her value as military asset and potential partner rather than trophy acquisition. And something significantly more dangerous than simple respect. Prove it. The challenge emerges before diplomatic caution can intervene, carrying implications that both recognize as potentially destabilizing to carefully maintained professional boundaries. Orion's response is to close the remaining distance between them with fluid grace, his larger frame creating intimate proximity while positioning himself to offer her tactical advantages rather than using superior size for intimidation purposes. The gesture demonstrates vulnerability while maintaining strength, offering trust while preserving capability. Their weapons clatter to the padded surface. Both find their hands employed more productively exploring the architecture of alien physiology. Her fingers trace intricate scarification across his chest, mapping patterns that tell stories of victory and loss, honor and sacrifice earned through combat rather than inheritance. Royal blood or not, Orion earned his rank through battlefield performance rather than political appointment. The scars speak to personal courage, to decisions made under enemy fire, to the kind of leadership that inspires loyalty through example rather than authority. His hands span her waist with casual strength that reminds her exactly how dangerous he could be, while demonstrating perfect control over that potential for violence. The gesture is careful, measured, designed to position rather than overpower. Recognition that true strength lies in restraint rather than application. But the lifting motion places her at eye level with his face, close enough to observe the predatory intelligence that made him effective military commander. Close enough to feel the warmth of breath that speaks to elevated metabolic rates and cardiovascular systems adapted for sustained physical performance. Close enough that the space between them hums with possibilities that extend far beyond diplomatic ceremony. The marriage contract includes provisions for renegotiation based on mutual compatibility assessment. His voice grows rough with implications that transcend bureaucratic language, carrying undertones that speak to growing personal investment in their arrangement's outcome. Translation: terms could be rewritten if both parties demonstrated sufficient mutual attraction and capability. Standard diplomatic escape clauses transformed into opportunities for genuine partnership rather than political convenience. Her tactical mind processes implications, while her body responds to alien pheromone signatures that register as surprisingly compatible with human arousal mechanisms. The chemistry between them transcends species barriers with startling efficiency. Biological systems recognizing potential for successful reproduction despite obvious physiological differences. What specific renegotiation parameters? Her question emerges breathier than intended. Professional control strained by proximity to something that satisfies requirements she hadn't recognized she possessed. Equal partnership, joint command authority, shared strategic decision-making for all alliance integration protocols affecting human populations. Everything she expected to lose in exchange for Earth's galactic citizenship. Everything the diplomatic corps assured her was non-negotiable. Everything that matters more than personal comfort or individual preference. And the physical requirements. The question carries implications that both recognize as moving their negotiation into territory that Academy monitoring systems aren't designed to accommodate. His smile holds promises extending far beyond diplomatic ceremony, carrying heat that speaks to biological imperatives and emotional connections that transcend political necessity. Those requirements, General, will demand significantly more thorough and extended negotiation sessions. The training ring's automated systems continue their quiet monitoring, recording biometric data that suggests successful cross-species compatibility assessment, while missing the deeper implications entirely. Around them, the Academy facility hums with routine operations. Cadets and instructors maintaining schedules designed to promote interspecies cooperation through controlled academic interaction. Neither notices the institutional framework surrounding their personal discovery. Their attention has narrowed to the fundamental recognition that some connections transcend bureaucratic planning. That authentic partnership emerges from mutual respect and shared capability rather than diplomatic convenience. The marriage contract lies forgotten among their discarded weapons. Its ceremonial language, inadequate to capture the complexity of what they're negotiating through touch and proximity, and the kind of honesty that emerges when two predators recognize their equals. Some alliances require renegotiation from the ground up. Some partnerships transcend the limitations of their original frameworks. Some connections prove strong enough to reshape the fundamental assumptions underlying galactic diplomatic architecture. And some discoveries change everything.